I got a couple items here that I can hit you with, unless there's something that you want to off with.
Go right ahead.
So I'm seeing that there's a shuffling along the offensive front with DJ Scaife moving to tackle and Devon Donaldson to right guard. What do you think led to that, and are you in agreement?
I really do like what's going on. Can you hear me good? Because my fan is on. Is everything
Oh,
all
I
right?
got you. You're good.
Okay, perfect. All right, cool. I really like what they're doing because mainly Devon Donaldson is a run. He's a run first guy. And that's usually the right side of your offensive line. You don't want to be able to run that 22, that 24, 2, 4, 6, that's the right side. 1, 3, 5, that's the left side. FYI for y'all. So when you call 21 dive, that's to the left. You call 22 dive, that's to the right. You want to be able to get that double team mesh against that one technique. Okay, usually happens in one technique is to the short side of the field. 3 technique is to the field side. So you want Devon slamming down on a one technique and driving them out of the hole, helping Gainer move people. And that was an issue that we had on this offensive line last year. It was more of a zone blocking-esque finesse style way with smaller guys like Ja'Kai Clark, who's still really good. Just because he's smaller doesn't mean anything. Scaife, who's smaller. Gainer, who's smaller. This was our interior O-line. Okay, these guys, none of them are over 320. They're all like 305, 306, 308. So we weren't really able to run straight at people, which is why you have the disrespect out there for Cam Harris that's out there from unceremonious reasons to where the people think that he sucks all of a sudden. Well, on first down, we tried to get some yardage and we ran the dive, and we couldn't move people, folks. So when we started going east and west, then that O-line had a lot more success because you have Scaife, who's a little smaller, athletic type of offensive lineman, who I believe is either a true center because he's a little smaller for the tackle. He's 6'3", 307, somewhere in there, 308. That's like really lighting it behind to be playing guard. And that's what we had to have happen last year because there was no Devon, and he was one of the most experienced offensive linemen, and he was serviceable. But if you want to take that step, Mark, you kind of want to upgrade. So Devon comes in, solidifies himself at right guard. Scaife started as a true freshman back in 2018 at right tackle. He moved to the interior in 2019 when we needed help, and then kept his job in the interior in 2020. So he's moving back off to the right side. What that does do, Mark, it creates a great competition between 6-year redshirt senior Jared Williams, who decided to come back, and Scaife, who will be a true senior again for his last year. So it'll create somebody's going to play and somebody's not going to play at right tackle. We'll see where that goes. I also see maybe the loser if it's really close. I don't know if this would happen, but they may put somebody on that left side at left tackle. But Zion Nelson has done really well over the last year, really getting his stuff together on the left-hand side. So I guess we'll see what happens on that right tackle side, huh, Mark? Actually, no, it won't be DJ Scaife's last year because 18, 19, 20, and 20 doesn't count. So he'll be a junior over again. So even if he just so happens to lose that battle, he still has the eligibility left at that right tackle spot. At center, there's a battle going on with Cleveland Reed, a recruit that I've talked about a lot on here. 6'4", 320. He's a big mauler. He was kind of like a right guard, but he just didn't have the feet. So they put him in at center, something that I said he would be perfect for because he just snaps, take that hook step, and just drive, either right or left, and he can move people. And it's less about his feet. It's more about his strength, his knowledge, and less about mobility. And I think he has both of those things as far as the strength and the knowledge. I think that was a great move, putting him at center. At left guard, you have a battle between now experienced Ja'Kai Clark, who's been starting for us. I think he has about 15 starts under his belt. And Jalen Rivers, highly sought after, top 5 in his position, coming out of high school as an offensive tackle. He's a little bigger now. He's moved into the guard position. So there's a battle going on at left guard. And at left tackle, there's a battle between Zion Nelson, John Campbell, and Mike McLaughlin. So, and that's a young prospect for us. So hopefully we can hold him out there. So It's funny you asked about O-line. I spent a while on some podcasts the last couple of days talking O-line, D-line. You know, people know I'm a big guy. The fronts is what I like to talk about. And I think that we're making some moves, but it was brought to my attention. I'm not really much of a pro football focused guy. I don't, I worry about what I see, not what somebody else tells me based on statistics and angles and percentages crap. Okay. We went from 112th to 90th. So we were in the bottom, the slums of college football in 2019, O-line wise. You bring back almost all of those starters in 2020, and we only went up to the 90th offensive line. I feel as though they played a lot better than 90th, but that's kind of eye-opening that we were 90th. Wow. So there's still a lot of growth. I think they'll do better. But as far as coming out and thinking that they're just going to maul people and slam them, that takes years to change the mindset, years to be able to recruit to that type of style of play on that offensive line. I mean, we're not going to turn into Wisconsin in a year. It's just not. That's in their DNA. Okay.
Wholesome one. Is it a situation with Pro Football Focus and other advanced metrics like that where you just don't believe in it because you don't believe in it, or because you have seen repeatedly times in which you've seen statistics that totally belie what you've seen with your eyes and say that's not accurate?
I would say the latter. And here's why I say that, Mark. I remember a couple seasons ago, I want to say maybe 2018, Anthony Chickalo was rated the 10th best run-stopping defensive end on second downs. He gets about 15 snaps a game. You're telling me he's the 10th best run stopper in the National Football League? And even more specifically on second downs. Like,
why does second down matter?
It was a stat they were promoting, and the Miami Hurricanes fan base took it and ran with it. There was another stat about Trajan Bandy. Going into the Florida game, they called Trajan Bandy the best cornerback in college football when targeted to the field side. What does that even mean? Like, yeah, I understand what that means, but what?
Yeah, it's one thing to understand what that means. We all understand what that means if you know anything about the field and the boundary side and so forth. But why is it being measured? Why does that? Yeah.
And oh man, the other part is I'm a pretty big talk radio guy, and we've gotten to a point in this society, and I really blame Skip Bayless for this. I'm sorry for bringing up someone else's name on your show, but I blame that guy because that dude turned everything into a debate to where you have to knock down the other person in order to uplift whatever you're saying to make them seem like the stupidest and wrongest person in the world. Wrongest is not a word, but more wrong than you are. And that's how you win debates. It's like, no, we can discuss sports. Okay, for my generation, LeBron James is the best. That's it. But if you compare him to Michael Jordan in some statistics, it's not even a comparison. Jordan is way better in certain aspects. But why is that even a thing? Like, why do you have to do that? Why does it have to clash and you got to demean other people? You know, the only other people I would demean at any opportunity is those people in Tallahassee. I don't care anything about them. I loathe them, okay? But no one comes and asks me, oh, you have to be able to debate Winston versus Dorsey. I'll say put their numbers up, talk about their errors, and probably percentage of difficulty. Who did they have to play at the time that they had to play them, surrounded by whatever talent, and what was the outcome? You can have a logical debate with that, Mark, and come out with whatever you think based on what the numbers in the film says. But if you're on certain shows, you're like, oh, that guy, look at who he played with. This guy absolutely sucks. His wife is not that beautiful, so therefore he stinks. It's like, bro, no.
I'm right there with you, and nobody loves to debate sports, certain type of sports arguments like I do, but it's got to come organically in regards to a debate. I'm not going to just go off and try to get clickbait just based on arguing and yelling at people. But if organically, just like we have a conversation every week, you're the Miami expert. We sometimes go off into the ACC and college football. And if we agree, we agree. And if people find that boring, then we're not going to change our opinions just so we debate. But if we organically and naturally disagree on something, then we'll have the conversation and we'll debate and trade arguments on it. I always hated the quarterback at the NFL conversation that starts and stops with Super Bowl championships. And two guys will argue for 20 minutes and we get no further than how many Super Bowls they won. I can look that up in a book. I can look that up online. I actually know it. So, if all the argument is he won 3 and he won 1, so that means he's better, then why are we even talking about it? I always hated that.
It hurts. It's weird. And what that does is it creates a generation of people who believe this is how you communicate. This is how you're supposed to talk amongst each other. And I don't like that. I really love to push back on that when we have an undergrad, when we had our conversations. I would always say this is that, a conversation. You bring your facts and your opinion to back up those facts. I'm going to bring mine, and we could either come to an agreement or agree to disagree. But we don't have to stand here and debate and down talk each other to get the other person to be the one that gets their hand raised by the referee at the end of the match. It's not like that. And it's weird. We can get back to Kane's talk, but I just wanted to say that because I think people need to open up their minds and understand what's going on, man. You need to be able to communicate, articulate yourself, and not have that type of negative energy with other people about disagreements, man.
And I'll take it just to this level, and it concerns football, so we'll keep it in that direction before we move on with Miami. The passer rating and then the QBR. This is the issue I have, and we'll see if anybody can enlighten me in regards to Pro Football Focus having any advanced metrics that more accurately measure a quarterback's ability to throw the ball on target, because we all know the passer rating's been around for decades. And it's certainly a great indication of how good a quarterback is. Most of the time, the quarterback with the better numbers is a better quarterback, most of the time. But you have to watch the game. There are dropped passes. There's pressure. Tom Brady was pressured 5 times in the Super Bowl, and Pat Mahomes was 38 times. There's a difference when there's nothing more difficult for a quarterback to deal with than sitting on his rear end all afternoon. So that has a lot to do with accuracy. Having a Michael Strahan in your face all day, that has a lot to do with how accurate you're going to be. So number one, the passer rating is meaningful. Then we got this QBR rating that was introduced. The thing that I can appreciate about that wholesome one is it at least addresses the situation. So, Absolutely. For example, if it's 3rd and 15 and you throw the ball out in the flat to the running back and he gets 7 yards, well, back in the passer rating days, well, that's a good play. That's a good play. You threw the ball for 7. Well, you can throw the ball for a 7-yard touchdown to win the game, or you can throw the ball for a 7-yard completion when it's 3rd and forever and you're down by 25 points and it's meaningless. So at least the QBR put that into context. You can throw a 1-yard completion and it was 4th and inches. That was a big completion. You converted, and the QBR at least put that into context of what was the game situation and was that a successful play? Not just was it a 7-yard completion or a 1-yard completion. But I would like to see something that would measure more so, take each individual throw from the quarterback and say, was he pressured? How severely was he pressured? Was the ball on target? Did the receiver make a phenomenal catch that wasn't that great of a pass? Or did the quarterback hit him right in the chest and it was dropped, and kind of measure it from there to come up with more of an accurate assessment and evaluation of, and I'm just taking the quarterback as an example, everybody on the field in terms of whether they were successful in their assignment on that play.
I'm with you, because one thing I've discussed for a while, and I think I brought it up years ago here on the channel, was these interceptions where you could hit a wide receiver right in the hands, it pops up in the air, and now that's the fault of the QB. He threw an interception, but in actuality, it was tipped in the air. You know, tip drill turns into something. So I always thought maybe they should come up with a stat called TINT, tipped interceptions. I think it's just that simple. That might be something that Pro Football Focus or whoever index people come up with here soon, because they even have one statistic. Probable passer rating. It's like, probable passer rating? What this stat says is based on the trajectory of the ball. This is where it was supposed to go.
How many times would that come into play? Are we talking about batted balls at the line of scrimmage?
Man, listen, I happen to be on their website, and I'm just, you scroll down to the index, and you just see it's like 50 different breakdowns and acronyms of all this different stuff. And I read that, and I just said, you know what? I need to get off of here before I don't want to be Mr. Negative, because those people put in work, and they obviously do watch film. It's kind of weird, man. It's kind of weird.